How much money did Hunter Biden and his business associates receive from the Ukrainian company Burisma?
Burisma paid to everyone involved $6.5 million.
$6.5 million. Burisma also paid Blue Star Strategies and a law firm hundreds of thousands of dollars, bringing the total Burisma payments to over $7 million. Is that correct?
That is correct, $7.3 million.
$7.3 million. Between 2014 and 2019, this brings the total amount of foreign income streams received to approximately $17 million, correct?
That is correct.
And he didn't even have the decency to pay taxes on all that Burisma money. How about that? Congressman James Comer joins us, Republican of Kentucky and chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Outstanding hearing today, in my opinion, sir. Were you satisfied?
Thank you. I was. We saw that the Democrat members can't defend the indefensible. We saw that the IRS confirmed what we've been saying for months about the Bidens receiving millions and millions of dollars from our adversaries around the world. We found out now, without a shadow of a doubt, that their investigation from the IRS was obstructed by the Department of Justice. So this gives us a lot of fuel moving forward to continue to follow the money.
So these guys were great. Ziegler and Shapley, hearing from them, very important. They both said, especially Shapley, that he's feeling the heat from his bosses at the IRS. Let's listen to this, please.
I have been attacked as incompetent and falsely accused of being a liar, a leaker, or both, all by people who know nothing about me or the facts of this case. Some question if I should even be called a whistleblower, suggesting that my disclosures are not legally protected merely because they don't like what I'm saying. We've seen this shoe on the other foot before, and some Republicans have made the same error, so there's plenty of blame for both sides. The cycle of villainizing or canonizing government employees who report what they believe is wrongdoing has to stop.
I thought that was interesting about the villainizing and canonizing. We have seen that before. But are you worried about these guys and how they're being treated? They both still work for the IRS.
I'm very worried, but we've learned that they've been retaliated against by the IRS. They've been threatened to lose their job. They've been told, whispered in their ear that their careers are ruined. And this is wrong. You know, the Democrats on the committee, they claim to get the backs of the federal workforce. They claim to be the sponsors of all this whistleblower protection legislation. And they're okay with whistleblowers as long as they're blowing the whistle on Donald Trump. But if they blow the whistle on a Democrat, God forbid, I mean, it's a different story. And to see how the Democrat members of the House Oversight Committee treated these two credible, effective, accomplished IRS whistleblowers was pretty sickening.
It was bad, really disappointing. You know, it wasn't always like this in this country. You're presented with facts, people treat them, with respect, and it's not happening here. If you're Joe Biden, is this getting to you? Are you sleeping well at night? I mean, it explains a lot to me, the China balloon, the weird reaction, all these crazy giveaways to our adversaries.
Yep.
Do you sense, have you heard that they're sweating it a little bit, that they're feeling the heat, the Bidens, and especially Joe himself?
Well, he should. I mean, if he only watches MSNBC and reads the Washington Post and New York Times, if that's the only sources of information he has, then he probably feels pretty good about himself. But, the rest of America's keeping up with this investigation. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, whether you're urban or rural, one thing I think we can all agree on is we detest public corruption. And I think any American can see the fact that there is overwhelming evidence that the Bidens set up all these shell companies while he was vice president. They received millions and millions of dollars from our adversaries in China, Ukraine, and Russia for reasons no one knows. And then they laundered the money down to different Biden family members, including his grandchildren who were under 18. So this isn't normal behavior. It smells, and I think every American, even Americans that are strong Democrats, realize that there's potential corruption here.
So when you remember Joe said when he was confronted with this stuff, he's only been confronted maybe twice in his entire presidency, but someone said, okay, we hear these allegations and all this money coming into your family, and he says, where's the money? He tries to be funny, where's the money? Do you think it's like Tony Bobolinsky said when he was talking to the Biden brother, plausible deniability? Were they clever enough to actually avoid ultimate prosecution, criminal prosecution. Did they cover their bases well enough to avoid prosecution on this stuff?
I think they've probably covered their bases well enough to not have a direct wire to Joe Biden. However, we're going to continue to find millions and millions of dollars. We just now got the bank records in from Ukraine. So if Joe Biden wasn't sweating prior to today, he should be sweating now. And I think that we're going to be able to show that this family received millions more from our adversaries. And the only possible reason that you could explain why these foreign nationals and foreign government were sending this family money was because they were getting favors from Joe Biden.
Hey, by the way,
this is an investigation about Joe Biden, and it always has been.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you know this. I found this out recently. Joe Biden, as vice president, went to meet with the president of Ukraine 2 days before he left office. He goes all the way to Europe to have a meeting with the head of Ukraine. And on that same trip, he only had 2 or 3 days left in office. He goes all the way over there, and he also makes time to see the president of China with just a few days left in office. And the way he spoke about the president of Ukraine seemed a little bit weird to me. You know, I'll miss the sound of your voice. I'm going to have to call you every other day. What does that tell you?
Well, look what we're having to do in Ukraine now. And, there's no transparency. We're sending Ukraine a blank check. But yet this family received millions and millions of dollars from Ukraine, a country known for its corruption. Look, I support Ukraine against Russia, but I don't want to give them, hundreds of billions of our hard-earned tax dollars in the United States when we have crumbling infrastructure here and we have needs and debt here that we need to take care of first. But Joe Biden continues to put the Bidens first and Americans last. So we believe that if you look at Joe Biden's admission in that one interview where he admitted he held up the foreign aid in exchange for getting the prosecutor fired who was investigating his son's corrupt energy company. I mean, I think there's overwhelming evidence that there's a conflict of interest with Ukraine and Joe Biden, yet we're continuing to fund this war with Ukraine, sending them blank checks. And I don't think very many members of Congress know exactly where this money is going, and that should be a concern to every taxpayer in America.
And Joe just might not have a choice, all right? They may have a drawer full of stuff on him. And, well, Congressman James Comer, very impressive today. Really quick, what's next?
Well, we're in there in the deposition phase. So we have about 5 people, and everyone will know who the 5 people are. They're all people that have been mentioned as former Biden associates, people that were involved with the Bidens in helping them launder money from the foreign nationals. We're going to bring them in and see if we can find out what the Bidens did to receive the money and what Joe knew and what level of involvement Joe had in the family corruption.
Congressman Comer, Chair of the House Oversight Committee, thank you. Come back soon, please, and good luck with your investigation. We'll be right back.